Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perpetual podcast. Uh, I'm Stephen Beck, your host, and yeah, it's been a while. Been like 2 weeks probably. I wanted to come on here and talk about some shit I've been thinking about because that's what this podcast is about. It's what my brain is thinking. Last time we talked with my two best friends, Braden and Tyler, also known as Good Life Designs and Nendrix, on YouTube and whatever else. Um, but yeah, this time is gonna be like a little bit more of a serious type of thing. I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about um, some of what I've been thinking about recently with how the world is going. You know, um, for instance, let's talk about the government because you might be able to hear from my voice right now. I'm a little bit sick, and I'm a little bit, you know, out of it right now. But what I've been really feeling is that we have gotten to a point in our history where we are more comfortable with um, ulterior people to take over for us because we have chose a president that has chose a cabinet that is insane, at least from my perspective. Um, and I'm sure that you could argue most of them are pretty much standard choices and whatnot, and that's fine. Sure. Marco Rubio is Secretary of State, although he has no real good purpose for having that position, is not going to do anything different than the previous Secretary of State. You know what I'm saying? Or at least not yet. Not that I could see. Not that I could foresee. Nobody can foresee what will come. But I'm not talking about Marco Rubio here. I'm talking about how we have elected Donald Trump with a popular vote, too. This is not even like, oh, it was close. Kamala only lost the electoral college. No, this was, I mean, it wasn't in a blowout. It wasn't like, holy shit, Donald Trump destroyed everybody else. It wasn't like that, but it was um, poignant. I guess I should say it was like decisive. Decisive is the best word for that. It was a decisive election, and that's not anything that we're not used to seeing. Most elections really aren't that close as far as the electoral college and the popular vote. I mean, we can pretty much see how things are gonna go, right? Most of the time. These last three elections have been some of the closest in American history, and that's not, they're not, they haven't been the closest, but they've been very close. But this last one, 2024, really wasn't that close. I mean, you could make the argument that Kamala was only off by a couple 100,000 votes. That's a tiny percentage of the overall votes, but it's still hundreds of thousands of people who voted against her, And I'm not saying Kamala was a perfect candidate or anything. I don't even think she was a good candidate per se. Um, but it was decisive. It was a decisive election. Donald Trump won handedly. He got, I believe, 312 electoral votes. And if you know anything about the Electoral College, I mean, that's, let's see, 42 more than he needed. So, um, he didn't even have to win Pennsylvania. He didn't, and he could have lost Pennsylvania and Michigan and still won the election. He could have, you know, this wasn't a close election. This was something that was unexpected. It was expected that Kamala would win some of the swing states, but she lost all of them and um, nearly lost some of the other states that should have been not as close. The Democratic Party collapsed, and that's something that we've seen before in history. It happens all the time. A party will get too big for its britches and then collapse. It's happened before. The Democrats have experienced it before. We had a streak of Republican presidents before. It's happened many times, and the same thing happens to the Republican Party every once in a while too. It is what it is. Um, it happens, but this is a little bit of a different thing, I think, because we now have people in our government like Elon Musk. And, for 200 years, our republic stood firm on policy, stood firm on the Constitution, and this administration has already tried and already started to try to eliminate the things that our government is supposed to be doing following the Constitution of the United States. And I'm not going to get into all the specifics there, but you can see it very intellectually clear. They are trying to do workarounds to laws, and, some of those things won't get through, and that's great. That's what the structure is supposed to be doing. For instance, we've seen with every president of, the last 20, 30 years, an increase in executive orders. And executive orders don't really mean anything. It's just, hey, the president wants this done. That's really what an executive order is. Um, some people think that they're laws. They are not. They are recommendations, basically. Um, Now, that doesn't mean that they won't have adverse effects on our economy and um, our Constitution and Congress itself. They can definitely this, it will affect them. They will. There are things that executive orders that can do that will transform things in meaningful ways. But that doesn't mean that they're law. Um, so I just want to be clear about that. It's not like I'm not trying to say it's like the end of the world right now or anything like that. Um, I just wanted to come on here and say that, you know, our republic and our constitution have stood for 200 years. And I think that they will last a while longer. And I think that it will all be okay eventually. But to see the extent in which people are following executive order, um, the amount of people that aren't following the precedent that we have set in the past regarding our constitution and our laws, it's a bit concerning, and I think that everybody should be slightly concerned at least. Now, whether that means the whole world is going to end and America's going to fall and, you know, Donald Trump will be a dictator for life, I don't think all that's true, but it does mean this. We won't have the same level of truth, and that's already in question. That's our government is already in question for whether or not what is the truth and what is not the truth regarding a lot of things, especially elections. That's the one I'm most concerned about because elections give Americans the chance to change their minds. That's what an election really is. Parties generally stick with parties, except for a few cases here and there. Um, so you're really choosing what policies best suit you. And the American people, choose those things every 2 years. And that's not just including the election of the president, that's including Congress members, senators, and there's off year elections too. There's elections all the time. But the point is, we need to have trust in our electoral processes so that we can change our minds if things go badly. And obviously, this is not the result that I wanted to be for Donald Trump to get a second term and the Republicans to basically sweep uh, across the board. That's not what I ever really have ever wanted. Um, unless it was, the Republican Party of 100 years ago under Teddy Roosevelt, then I'd be okay with it. That's fine. But it is not. It is the party of Donald Trump, and there's no longer the argument of what Republicans are anymore. There is no old school conservative Republicans and Trumplicans. There is only Trumplicans, and that uh, means that all Republicans are Trumplicans because I don't see any sort of real resistance against Donald Trump except from people that have already gotten on his bad side in the past on the Republican side. So if people are Republicans, they're a Trump supporter. Unfortunately, that is just what it is now. And that's okay. I mean, people can be dumb. I'm I'll just say it clearly for you. People can be dumb. That's fine. It is what it is. But I think that everybody should take another peek at what Donald Trump has already done as far as executive orders, which, mind you, as I've said, do not have any legal recourse. They just are things that exist that the president can do. Now, here's the thing. All of what I said is great, right? That's fantastic. It doesn't really matter because if you don't believe me, you don't believe me, and if you do, you do. And there's no point in arguing about it in the comments. So if you're going to do that, fuck off. But here is what needs to happen now. People need to understand that if our republic, sorry, I'm yawning a bunch. If our republic is to survive and our democracy as a whole is to survive, we need to get back to a place where, you know, people are showing their teeth. I feel as though the Democrats, after this stunning defeat, have really lost their teeth a little bit here. I mean, we've seen it already. I mean, to some degree, that's not really all their fault. The Democrats don't hold the majorities in any branch of government, so they can't really do anything at the current moment. There is not really the same checks and balances. This is kind of now a loose Republican Party, and that, you know, I've always said that I'm a left wing person, so if you don't like that, then I guess fuck off. But a loose Republican Party in the government is not a good thing. It's not a good idea. It's not a good thing. It will not lead to prosperity. It will not lead to anything that will be vital for our future. If you think that kicking out all the immigrants and banning transgender people from the military is going to save our America and save our republic and save our economy, then I have sorry news for you. It will not. Uh, Immigrants actually contribute more to the economy than a lot of our average American citizens. They have a less of a criminal rate than a born in America American. Um, Historically speaking, now that changes and varies over the years, but historically speaking, there is no precedent that all the migrants are criminals and whatnot. And I'm not saying that people should come here illegally. I don't think they really should. I think that there should just be a more mitigated process and more streamlined way of like getting people here legally. You know, if people have some sort of um, economic reason for being here, great. If they have some sort of social reason for being here, like per se we bomb the shit out of their country, then yeah, unfortunately we should have to accept those people too. Um, Now, as far as the transgender thing, it's hard to argue over social issues when, half of the population doesn't really even believe that you know, that trans people are people. They don't even, uh, you know, they don't really see them as a person. They just kind of view them as an object that has, uh, you know, screwed themselves over by, changing their gender or whatever the hell the Republicans want to say. Now, fuck those people that say that, obviously. But, uh, my opinion has always been that I don't care. If someone wants to do something like that, the government shouldn't have any course of action that they can pursue over a person if they want to change their gender identity or their sex or whatever, their sexuality. It doesn't matter. The government should have its hands off entirely. Now, as far as the military goes, uh, you know, as long as the person who is a trans person that wants to go into the military, um, if they fulfill the same standards and they're, you know, all standards, if they fulfill all the same standards as everybody else, physical, mental, emotional, all of that, then great. They should be allowed to join the military. I would not join the military as I am, uh, a pretty rotund man. Um, you know, I would rather have a transgender person that is more athletic than myself doing military shit than, someone like me who's a straight white man, you know. And that's just me. That's just me speaking from the heart here. Um, Also, I really think that we have gone down a route that cannot be where we continue to be because it is fucking everyone over. That is, of course, accepting billionaires and super millionaires into, our government positions. Elon Musk. I'm just going to talk about Elon Musk because it's been on my fucking mind lately. I now hate the guy. I used to really love Elon Musk, and that's sucky to admit because I'm exactly who you would expect to like Elon Musk, right? Um, and now the guy has become a super rich megalomaniac who is destroying our government processes like the USAID, which helps so many different types of people. If you think that there's someone in your life that doesn't get benefits from the USAID, you would be wrong. I guarantee you there is someone that is in your life that gets help from the government program that Elon Musk wants to kill. And I have no problem with government efficiency. I just want to say that. I'm all for government efficiency. I'm all for checking the audits of the Pentagon. I think that if the Pentagon is failing their audits, they should be expunged and ruthlessly looked at by every other form of government. I think that that would be fair. And they are failing their audits, so that should happen. But this can't happen to government programs that are going to saving and helping the world. For instance, all of the green climate shit that we have invested in and have been trying to fund to prevent climate change from causing ecological disaster across our entire globe, well, that shit just got eliminated too. And this is the work of a guy who's not elected. Not elected. Elon Musk was not elected. I never voted against or for Elon Musk, and nobody else in this goddamn country did. And nobody wanted him as president, but yet he is setting the president aside and telling him what to do. And our president is sitting by and listening to him. And that is where we are now. So, our president is listening to a megalomaniac billionaire Not just any billionaire, the world's richest billionaire. The billionaire with the most billions is running our government. And if you think, as a person who has any sort of job, if anybody who is listening to this has over $1 million, please let me know because I really doubt that any of you are out there listening that have over $1 million. And if you do, this podcast is not for you. I'll tell you what, though, I'm going to guarantee that everybody in this who's listening to this right now has never made $1 million. And $1 million is nothing in comparison to what Elon Musk has, or Donald Trump, or most of his cabinet. I assure you that. So now we have gotten to the point where our government is an oligarchy. The richest people have the most power, and they are going to try to hold the power by spending their money. And that's exactly what happened. Elon Musk bought Twitter. He pumped hundreds of millions of dollars into Donald Trump's campaign. He put hundreds of $1 million into ads for Donald Trump on Twitter. And now Twitter is basically a right wing fucking gag fest where you go on there and you get to see which liberal fucked up this time. And that's great. We should expose them. But guess what? There's also a bunch of fucked up conservatives as well. And there's no app and there's no social media that will expose those type of people because Mark Zuckerberg, who is a previous liberal who has now sort of gone into that rich man affair of joining the oligarchy, joining the patriarch fucking class, the fucking, the absolute elite of elite people. Who, he's become a gym bro. He started fucking, getting crazy. You know how they do. This is a big problem. Zuck owns Facebook and Instagram. And so 3 out of 3 right now, we're counting 3 out of 3 social media apps: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The 3 biggest ones, as far as we're concerned, are all owned by 2 really rich people that are associated with the right wing of politics who now control those apps. So that's 3 down. Let's move on. TikTok, which previously was considered rather against Donald Trump, right? Most of the time, because Donald Trump was the first guy to say, hey, we should ban TikTok because it's not giving us anything. It's not an American business. It's corrupting our teens and taking away their freedoms. All that bullshit. Okay, so what happens now? 4 years later, Biden says we need to ban TikTok. Okay, fine. Biden bans TikTok. Great. Whatever. I don't give a shit. If that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. Nope. Guess what? Donald Trump gets reelected. Donald Trump stops the TikTok ban. And guess what? TikTok has now also fallen underneath another giant billionaire who also has ties with the Republican Party of the United States of America. So 4 out of 4, we're counting them. 4 out of 4, fucking count them. 4 out of 4 social media sites, fucking right there. I feel like the only one that's left is, that's not corrupted is maybe YouTube. Maybe YouTube has some fucking. We might be okay here. I don't know. I might get shot later. We'll see. And I'm sure there's other social media apps that are smaller and whatever. I don't know anything about really Snapchat's owners or whatever. I don't think that one's that big anymore. Doesn't matter. Blueski, too small. It's fucking too small. It's not going to have the effect that people think it's going to have. Or Blue Sky, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, that's what's happening. Our government is tied to these massive billionaires who own all of the social media. Well, not all of it. Sorry. My bad. 90% of it. 90% of the fucking social media is owned by these billionaires. And now the billionaires are fucking in association with the Republican Party of the United States, are fucking propagandizing the average person into thinking that the whole world is full of trans liberal fucking January 6th preaching fucking absolute neolibs like Nancy Pelosi that have blue hair and fucking 36 cocks. Guess what? Fuck you, pal. That's not how most left wingers are. Most left wingers are like me. They look like a big fat guy with a fucking beard. That's what most of us look like. And guess what? 99% of us don't give a shit about social shit. We just want people to have freedom in their own goddamn life. Guess what? I'm that guy. I'm the fucking guy who wants everybody out there fucking listening to this podcast to have freedom. That's all I fucking want is freedom. And I want for the government to help people have freedom. And I don't think that's such a big request. But apparently, the public of America, which I am trying to protect, which all the left wingers like myself are trying to protect, apparent fucking Lee, they don't want that. What the fuck? What have we done all this for, if not for you? And we go and elect Donald fucking Trump, who by the way, doesn't give a shit about any of you fucking sorry pieces of shit. Not a single fucking one of you. If you're in the goddamn countryside right now, if you're in rural Illinois, if you're in fucking rural Mississippi, if you're in the fucking cities of Alabama, and you voted for Donald Trump, he does not give a singular shit about you. Not a fucking one. And if you think for 1 second that there's one person in his entire government that actually cares about you, you would be sorely fucking mistaken. Not a single one. Not a single one. And I don't mean to be a dick, but I'm just saying, I don't think Kamala Harris was going to change the world either, but at fucking least, maybe she had the possibility of even slightly pretending to care about anybody on this fucking godforsaken planet. But no, we got Donald fucking Trump again. We got J.D. Vance, who lied about his life. His whole fucking story, the hillbilly elegy, whatever that bullshit is, fucking complete lies. He's not even from Appalachia. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I sit here and I complain. I sit here and talk about all this shit. It's great that I do this because if I didn't get off this on my mind, I would go insane. I'll tell you what though. If you are not looking at these facts, if you're not looking at what I've just told you about, if you're not looking at yourself and saying, does Donald Trump care about me? Does anybody in the Republican Party or really in politics give a shit about me? And the answer to you is yes, then you are sorely mistaken. And I think that we got to get to a point where people wake the fuck up and understand that nothing is going to change unless we do. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what, I don't know what we should do at this point, right? Because the Democrats can't obviously help us, right? They're too few and far between. Doesn't matter. Even if we got a Democrat in 2028 to win, I don't think it fucking matters at this point. Because the oligarchs own them all anyway, right? We're at the point now where we're going to have to run it back, boys. We're going to have to run it back. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane. I just think that there's got to be some sort of way where we get out of this, but I don't know what that answer is, and I don't really know how to get there. I think that people have fallen down this rabbit hole where they're like, this is another thing I wanted to talk about. It is now 10 fucking years later, after 2015. We are 10 years later after 2015. Donald Trump has been in the fucking headlines every week of the last 10 years. There's not been a single goddamn week that I have not seen his name somewhere. If that's not insane to you, then you are, without a doubt, the most insane person that's ever existed in the world. I'm so fucking tired of this person. I am so fucking tired of this person. I need him to be out of politics. I need him to be done now. But we've gotten to this point where if you were a Trump supporter in 2016 because you thought he was funny and you thought he was cool and you thought it was funny that he made fun of people and you thought it was funny that he got up on stage and he did his little dance and he made fun of all the other politicians who have been there. You know, he called Rand Paul. He told him, "Oh, your hair looks fucking goofy." Okay, hilarious, great comedy. Donald Trump would have been a great comedian. The problem is now he runs the world. He runs the fucking world. I mean, how did we get to this point, guys? And if you supported him because of all those reasons I said, where you thought he was funny or whatever, now you've gotten to the point people have looked at you like a freak and you've been socially outcasted. And now liberals and conservatives are more divided than ever. And I'm not talking about leftists, okay? Liberals are different. If you think otherwise, you're a bastard. You're a bastard. That's what you are. Here's the thing. Liberals and conservatives basically two sides of the same fucking coin. The fact that the fact that a liberal and a conservative can't walk into an establishment together as friends is insane. And it's gotten to that point now because even I feel a little bit of pressure if I'm around conservative people. I can't, it's not, I don't want to, but it's just like I can't even talk to them genuinely about anything because it's like if they're so wrapped up in that world where they're willing to accept all the chaos that comes from it, how the hell am I supposed to have a conversation about them or to them about anything intellectual at all? And I think that conservatives feel the exact same way about liberals, and I think that that's a problem. And I don't know how to come back from that, guys. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I think the answer is I don't even know. I education maybe, but hey, the Department of Education's going away anyway, so I guess we're fucked on that account as well. Anyway, hope you guys have a fucking shitty weekend. It's not even the weekend anymore. It's Monday. Have a shitty week. Farewell, I guess. Good luck. You know, sorry this one was a little bit more depressing than the last one. But you know, I tried to make it interesting for you. If you like ranting, then I guess you'll like this one. Anyway, I'm gonna go play some Minecraft, fucking eat some McDonald's, dude. I don't even know. I don't know what to do. That's what I'm gonna do to relax. Anyway, fucking peace out. Happy Valentine's Day. I guess that I should say that. Happy President's Day too. Shout out Teddy Roosevelt. Shout out. Let's see. You know, besides for Watergate, Nixon. That was a joke. Lincoln. He's a good one. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me who your favorite president is if you made it to the end. Thank you. And you know, I'll see you next time on the Perpetual podcast. Farewell.